Coach Prime is him. Colorado versus Colorado State. What did we learn? Let's get into it. I want to give all the props to Colorado for going out there and winning a tough battle versus Colorado State. Now I want to get this out of the way with because I don't even want to focus on these people for too long. But Jay Norvell, Henry Blackburn, and Mohamed Kamara, just so despicable. Like honestly, just like so despicable. Jay Norvell, for you to go out there and have your team get that many personal fouls, roughing the passers, face masks, just playing such a dirty game and to never get on them like that. Henry Blackburn, to go out there and late hit Travis Hunter the way that you did, just take a dirty cheap shot. And then Mohamed Kamara, to go and drive Shedeur Sanders into the ground like that, knowing that you're trying to take that quarterback out of the game. Absolute shame on y'all. Just absolute dirty play, and I'm so glad that y'all lost. Go back to Colorado State and continue being trash the way that you guys have been every single year. Now that we got that out of the way with, now we can focus on the actual game at hand. The Colorado Buffaloes beat Colorado State 43-35 in double overtime. This was an absolute wild game with highs, lows, and everything in between. It had us in our seats all the way to the very end of the game. We gonna break it down. We gonna get into it because there's just a lot that we gotta unpack. First and foremost, Colorado proved yet again that they are a team that is going to fight all the way till the end. They are not going to be a team that they are the ones that lose the game. If anything, the other team has to beat them. Colorado went into this game, and Colorado State, they were playing a dirty game, but they were playing well too. The players that weren't playing dirty, they were playing a great game. They were going out there and making and executing, but Colorado continued to execute, continued to step up. When they finally got things into gear, they went out there and just played their game, and they did a phenomenal job of, hey, I know that we're down 10. All right, I know that we're down. I don't know the maxes they were down, but I know that we're down. Take our field goal. We're gonna take another field goal. We're gonna score. We're just gonna claw our way all the way back until we're gonna take it into overtime. Just a phenomenal game. Shedeur Sanders went out here, and even though he had a extremely slow first half, I want to say he had like less than 50 yards passing in the first half. If not, it was very close to having, it was maybe like 60 or 70 yards passing in the first half. But he came back and led his team to a victory like the true winning quarterback that he is. Shedeur Sanders was 38 of 47, throwing for 348 yards with 4 touchdowns to only 1 interception. Shedeur Sanders has proven yet again that he is a bona fide winner, a true leader who can go out there and rally that Colorado offense to go out there and consistently make plays. But real quick, before we break down both of these teams and really get into the nitty gritty of this, be sure to leave this video a like and hit that subscribe button and turn your notifications, because we're going to be breaking down every single one of Colorado's games this season. And with them playing Oregon next week, you are not going to want to miss the breakdown that we do of that. As well, comment your thoughts down below of this game. I seriously want to hear what your guys' thoughts were off of this Colorado versus Colorado State game. As well, be sure to go and click the link at the top of the description and get your 100% deposit match up to $2,500 with today's sponsor, BUSR. BUSR is a revolutionary sports book online that it has such easy depositing and withdrawals. You can get your money, you can send it in Bitcoin, you can send it in straight wire, you can get it back in either way that you want. They have a ton of bets, great spreads, phenomenal options. BUSR is my place to go when it comes to making those amazing sportsbook bets on the NFL. So guys, get your 100% deposit match up to $2,500 and bet on this weekend's games with BUSR. Click the link at the top of the description, and thank you to BUSR for sponsoring today's video. But getting into it, at first, even though it was a very dirty game, I do want to give a shout out to the Colorado State offense. Their quarterback and wide receivers went out there and they played a phenomenal game. Braden Fowler Nicolosi was 34 for 47, throwing for 367 yards with 3 touchdowns. However, he did have 3 interceptions. But the stars of this game were wide receivers Torrey Horton and Lewis Brown. Torrey Horton had 16 catches for 133 yards and 1 touchdown, and Lewis Brown had 10 catches for 131 yards and 1 touchdown. You also can't forget tight end Dalton Holker, who had 6 catches for 109 yards and 2 touchdowns of his own. Overall, Colorado State's offense did a phenomenal job of just taking what Colorado was giving them. I'll talk about Colorado's defense here in a second, but a lot of these plays just came off of underneath drags that just they break a tackle and they keep it going. Or don't get me wrong, Braden Fowler Nicolosi, he was making some really good throws out there. He was keeping the ball safe until he wasn't, but it wasn't like he was consistently putting the ball into harm's way. It was just when he needed to make those big plays. He threw a pick six to Shedeur Sanders very early, or to Shiloh Sanders early in the game, and then obviously he threw an interception to seal the game. He had another pick. I want to say it was sometime in the third quarter, but overall he did play a very good game. He kept his composure, and he kept the Rams fighting throughout the entire game. It was just he wasn't able to finish it off. And their 2 wide receivers, they got some talent at wide receiver. So, hey, Colorado State should be a tough team to go up against here in the near future. All right, now we don't got to talk about Colorado State no more. Now we can focus on Coach Prime and the Colorado Buffaloes, the team that we're all here to really break down. Okay, do you want to hear the good or the bad first? Let's talk about the bad, because I want to spend the rest of this video just talking about the good. Colorado has not fixed anything that I have talked about since their week 1 game versus TCU. Colorado still gives up way too many sacks, they cannot run the ball effectively, and they do not have any pressure on the quarterback. Colorado gave up 4 sacks in this game, had only 70 total rushing yards, and they did have 3 sacks in this game, but those did not come until much later on in the game. They were not able to create any type of consistent pressure on Braden Fowler and Nicolosi, as well as they also gave up 100 rushing yards in this game. Now, most of this game, both teams were having to pass the ball, so it's better than what happened versus Nebraska and what happened versus TCU, but Colorado still needs to improve on their overall defense. Charles Kelly is currently Colorado's defensive coordinator. He was formerly Alabama's assistant defensive coordinator. He does not make adjustments. I do not get it. This is the 3rd game in a row where we have seen Colorado go out there and pretty much whatever they've been practicing all week and then make no adjustments to it. I don't know how many times I could watch Colorado State's wide receivers just running drag routes all across the field and just leaving, like, the announcer said it earlier earlier on in the game. Colorado State's just beating Colorado's defense by a death by 1,000 cuts. I don't understand how you can just give up 7, 8, 9 yards so consistently to a drag route before you start bringing guys in, before you start passing guys off between zones. Like, running man, I don't know what you have to do. I understand that losing Travis Hunter really messes with a team's defense, because you know, Travis Hunter would have been able to lock down Torrey Horton. He would have been able to lock down Lewis Brown in this game. But you have players. Travis Hunter's not the entire defense. There was just no adjustments, and I really did not like it. Going into Oregon next week, you're going to need to make adjustments. Bo Nix and then Oregon's offense, they're going to be able to make adjustments to your defense and exploit it. They're going to be able to run the ball effectively, and then whenever you try and make an adjustment to try and stop the run, they're going to just it's just going to get bad next week if Charles Kelly does not start making more adjustments. Like, you cannot just sit back 20 yards deep with your safeties and just be like, all right, you're not going to beat us over the top. You got athletes in the secondary for a reason. Let them run. Hey, if the wide receiver gets a step on them, you got corners and safeties fast enough to be able to make that ground up. You need to use that more. Defensive line coach, figure out a way to create some pressure. I understand that both on the offensive and defensive line, Colorado is extremely undersized. Not extremely, I'm exaggerating that a little bit, but they are undersized. And it shows. They're not able to create consistent pressure on the quarterback. They're not, and the pressure that they do create is coming 4, 5, 6 seconds after the quarterback's been there, given DB, making it so hard for the DBs to cover any wide receiver. There needs to be a more consistent way to get pressure on the quarterback. I don't know if you need to start blitzing linebackers. I don't know if you need to start doing corner blitzes. I do not know what, but the quarterbacks cannot feel like they can just sit back in the pocket for that long and have nobody make them do something. something. Like it's just gonna spell disaster. I mean, this is the second game that we've seen. I mean, Nebraska just played horribly, so there wasn't really any threat from the offense. But this is the second game out of 3 that we have seen Colorado need to win a shootout because their defense can't stop anybody. We need to see more improvement from that defensive line. Same thing with the offensive line. I get it. They're a little bit undersized. We saw the potential of Colorado's defense and offensive line in this game because, you know, they were feeling all that pressure. You know, they're like, hey, you know, we can't let these guys come into this rivalry game. You like play with that passion all 4 quarters versus other teams and you'll be fine. But when you're going out there and you're just like, okay, you're like, there needs to be some type of urgency to get after the quarterback, taking pride in, hey, I'm not gonna let another man my age just stop me from doing what I'm trying to do for 4 quarters straight. Defensive line, get after the quarterback. Find a way to just get through. Knock a hand down, work on a swim move or something, but get into the backfield. Offensive line, take pride in the fact that if Shedeur Sanders goes out, your season's done. Take some pride in protecting him. Hey, just take some pride in your own game. Like, hey, I'm not gonna let this guy consistently beat me off the line. Offensive line coach, continue to work on different schemes because you need to be able to just better protect the gaps and better protect your quarterback, as well as you need to find more effective ways to run the ball. Colorado's offense too quickly just becomes very one-dimensional where it's like, hey, you know, they're just gonna have to consistently pass it because they can't run it. Dylan Edwards did have 5.7 yards a carry, but he had 10 carries for 57 yards, 5.7 yards a carry, 19 yards was his longest run. You would like to see them run the ball just more and more effectively. I know that Dylan Edwards is not a 3-down back. I know that the other running backs that they have are not as talented or as explosive as Dylan Edwards is. That's one position that Colorado does need to improve, but there needs to be a more effective way of running the ball because Colorado's offense just becomes way too one-dimensional and teams can just sit back, which makes it more impressive that Shedeur Sanders puts up the numbers that he does because teams know he's going to pass it and he still finds ways to hit his open receivers. But overall, the same things that we've been talking about for every single week now. No pressure on the quarterback, too much pressure on our own quarterback, and we can't consistently run the ball. Those have just been things that haven't really made any improvement since week 1 that needs to get improved very quickly going into Oregon. Last little thing I want to mention, hey, we need to stop with all the drops. There was just later on in the game, it was cool. You cannot be getting comfortable with dropping the ball early. Jimmy Horn Jr., calling you out on that one. We got to hold on to the ball. But now let's talk about the positives. Colorado, their offense is still looking great. Now, it took them a very long time to get comfortable. It really felt like, you know, they started this game off. They're like, Jay Norvell, he was talking, and you know, like okay, like it's a rivalry game. I get it. You came into the game kind of hot, and then Colorado State came into the game a little bit hotter. Kind of shocks you. It's like, whoa, they're actually here to play a game. Like, oh, whoa, okay, like. You're expecting this Colorado State. You're expecting them to just roll over and die every single week, but they come out, okay, I get it. Second quarter, you're a little bit shocked because it's like, whoa, like their defense is not letting us do anything, and their offense keeps on moving on our defense. I get it. That's where our running game. That's where the Colorado's running game needs to improve. You can't just go a whole quarter having your whole game plan stalled out because you can't run the ball effectively, and you're still trying to find the missing piece to be able to pass on their offense more effectively. Colorado needs that more effectiveness, but I am extremely proud of how they played in the back half of this game. The back half of this game, their offense woke up and they started moving the ball effectively, but they didn't need no trick plays. They just diced them up. That's really all it was. They just really diced them up and just made their plays. In this game, the Colorado Buffaloes wide receivers, Xavier Weaver, who is very quickly just become this team's #1 wide receiver threat, had 9 receptions for 98 yards and a touchdown. Michael Harrison, hey, my guy Michael Harrison came out here at tight end, 7 catches for 76 yards and 2 touchdowns, as well as a 2-point conversion. Jimmy Horn Jr. put together another solid game of 7 catches for 66 yards and 1 touchdown. And Tavares Dawson, a very sleeper guy, but he's consistently been putting in work, 5 catches for 60 yards. Now, obviously, if you guys have watched the game, you already know why I'm about to say what I'm about to say. But for those of you guys who didn't, you're not hearing a whole lot about Travis Hunter. Well, Travis Hunter left the game early, I want to say in the second quarter, because of a cheap shot by a Colorado State player. So he wasn't able to really do much in this game. He did have a fumble, which did get recovered. I will say one thing I do want to see Travis Hunter do more/less of is stop trying to make everything a highlight play. I think in college, sometimes you just need to just get the yards that you can and just call it a day. I love watching Travis Hunter play because you just never know what you're going to see. I think with his frame, I think just with him not being the biggest guy out there and just with it being college football, I think one juke, if you don't make a guy miss, you just dive forward and get as many yards as you can, because the reason why he ended up fumbling was just because he got rolled, like he got tackled, the guy rolled him on top of him, and then ball just got knocked out, got picked up for a score. So Travis Hunter, I'm not gonna tell you how to play because you that guy. All I'm saying is that maybe taking a little bit back on the trying to make 15 people miss at once. I think that'll help your game out. But if Travis Hunter played in this game, the full game, this is a completely different game. There's no way that Torrey Horton or Lewis Brown is going for the numbers that they did with Travis Hunter shadowing over them. You cannot tell me that adding Travis Hunter in that wide receiver room does just not help overall. Travis Hunter is such a dynamic player that this still would have been a close game, but I think that they would have been able to get it done in regulation and win by 7 to 10 points. That's the reason why it hurts so much that Travis Hunter left this game early. But with Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders and all the other pieces, Colorado is a very tough team to beat unless you have a great offense, and then yeah, you can keep up with them. But overall, breaking down Colorado's play, they did a phenomenal job of showing yet again they have heart. They are going to fight all the way to the end of the game, and they're not going to be the ones to beat themselves. They're going to be the ones to go out there and win those games, and they play with heart. They play with passion and swagger. I love what they're doing. Offense and wide receivers, Shedeur, keep on doing your thing. Keep on making your passes. Keep on going out there and getting your receivers involved. Great job. Finding more ways to get Dylan Edwards involved as far as running the ball and also in the passing game. You know, he did have a pretty quiet game. He had 6 catches, but for only 16 yards or for 17 yards. Finding more ways to get Dylan Edwards involved, I think, is helpful. We saw what he did versus TCU. He had way more receiving yards than he did rushing yards. I think he is a valuable threat coming out of the backfield in the receiving game. So finding ways to get him involved is going to help out a lot. Defense really locked in when they needed it to the most in overtimes and in the fourth quarter. Did a good job there, but got to see more early if you want to see Colorado really have a chance versus Oregon and then USC the week after. Charles Kelly, you need to make more adjustments on that defensive side of the ball. Like, you cannot just sit back and let the same play happen for the entire game and not make an adjustment to it. Like, seriously, it's just uncalled for. Like, it really is. Go out there, make your adjustments, find ways to get more pressure on the quarterback. Defense is gonna be squared away. Overall, it's gonna be exciting to see how Colorado heads into this game versus Oregon, because there's gonna be a lot of hype around it. It will be interesting to see if Travis Hunter plays in this game. It will be interesting to see. I mean, Shedeur, he did get banged up in this game. It will be interesting to see if he's 100% going into the game versus Oregon next week. But overall, it's kind of the same thing that we said last week. Great offense. Defense needs a whole lot of work. Offensive line needs to protect them more. Figure out a way to run the ball more effectively. That's been Colorado's MO this entire season. We'll see if they ever get around to fixing it. But right now I'm rambling and I want to stop. I love and appreciate all y'all. Hope that you enjoyed this video. Leave this video a like and hit that subscribe button and turn your notifications. We're going to be covering every single Colorado game this season, breaking down what we saw and what we learned from the Coach Prime led Colorado Buffaloes. Really proud of the guys for going out there and winning this game versus just dirty Colorado State team. Just, you know, the players that weren't playing dirty, hey, hats off to you for going out there and just playing football. All the players that were just making just unnecessary plays, just trying to knock off a guy just trying to help some kids out. Shame on you. Shame on you. Jay Norvell, shame on you. Enough said. Love and appreciate all y'all. Hope you have a super blessed day, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Ciao.